I asked Ashik Abu, I asked like some 5 other people that how are you guys creating such powerful storytelling? Putting it out there, Mammootty sir, I'm waiting for an interview. Contemporary Malayalam cinema, for many of us, it was Kumbhala. I've had a roundtable fall apart 2 days before. Yeah, it's a nightmare.
എഴുത്തുകാരി മാധ്യമപ്രവർത്തക ഫിലിം ക്രിറ്റിക് അനുപമ ചോപ്രയാണ് ഇന്ന് നമ്മളോടൊപ്പം ഉള്ളത്. ഹായ് മാം, വെൽക്കം.
Thank you.
First of all, welcome to Kerala again. And how do you feel coming to Kerala? Especially, how do you feel sitting here on the other side of the aisle as an interviewee?
I love Kerala, so I love coming back here. Whether it's for an interview, whether it's to give an interview, whether it's to come here for film festivals, I think it's an amazing place, and I'm always happy to be in Kerala.
It's very rare that Anupama Chopra sitting on the other side.
Yes, it is very rare. It's not my preferred place. I prefer where you are, but I'm okay.
Coming to a career, there's a long list of names like NDTV, Hindustan Times, India Today, then milestone of Film Companion, what was made, and then now Hollywood Reporter India. And obviously it's not a cakewalk, but my question is, was it more of stones or petals on the way?
This sounds
It's a big...
No, this sounds like a cheesy self-help book, but the truth is, when you love something in the way I love cinema, the stones are also okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not, and of course, every job has stones, right?
Yes.
And every profession has some ups, some downs. But I'm so grateful to do what I love. I'm so grateful I get to watch movies for a living. I get to engage with artists for a living. That's my job, which is so amazing. So I'm too much of an optimist. I don't focus on the stones at all.
Just on the way.
It's, on the way, and what you enjoy and what you love, and how do you bring joy to other people through what you do.
Yes.
You know, honestly, I knew that, and when I started, like my first job, which was like late 80s, was at that time, it was like, oh my God, why do you want to do film journalism, you know? But I just feel like, honestly, it's been such an enriching journey, and I've also changed a lot. So I started out as a print journalist with magazines, then I went to television, then I went to digital. So I've changed so much. In the middle of all that, I was also writing books. I was also helping to run a film festival. So truthfully, I've not had time to think of barriers.
Just working
And loving it. And I don't know. I've never sat down to say, oh my God, that was a barrier and I had to overcome it. I didn't even focus.
Oh, when did the decision came to start Film Companion?
So the decision came after I stopped the show on Star World, which was called The Front Row, which was 2014. So Film Companion started in 2014 because we stopped doing The Front Row, and my husband suggested you should just do your own thing and get on YouTube, and that's what I did.
As an interviewer, did Anupama Chopra ever had sleepless nights before I interviewed?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not casual about it at all. Especially now, one-on-one interviews are not so difficult, but roundtables, the big ones, where there's 5-6 people, you have to really prep. You have to make sure that you're on top of it. That's important.
Can you recollect anything, any special interview or any specific one where did you work so hard?
I think we were
Hardest interview that Anupama Chopra ever did.
It's not really. It's not so this thing that there'll be one really hard interview. I think for us, the roundtables are very tough. That whole season between November, December, when we're doing the roundtables, is very, very difficult. Because less than a journalist, you become a coordinator.
So many courses.
So all day, all night, that's all you're doing. His schedule match with hers. Can she be part of it? Then 2 days before, somebody will call and say, I can't make it. Then you start all over again. Fall apart. I've had a roundtable fall apart 2 days before.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. But
December is a
It's hell. And when we're done, we just sit there and we're like, oh my God, we're done. But it's so much fun also. So you do it all over again.
Oh, talking about roundtables, how do you think the roundtables benefit the group of people, whether it's actors or directors? How do you think roundtables nourishes the industry?
I think it's very, very important to get people into a room on one table. Maybe people who are too busy to meet or ever have these conversations. So which is what I try and explain to all artists, that don't think of it, because their first question is, who else is on it? Right? But who am I sitting with? The truth is, it doesn't matter. You're being celebrated for your work. And you should be there with your peers to celebrate their work.
There's a camaraderie.
Exactly. It's not about who am I sitting with? Is that person my status, below me, above me? None of that should matter.
There's a celebration of movie
It's a celebration of cinema. It's a celebration of your work. It's a celebration of storytelling.
Yeah.
And you should participate because it's also a reflection of that time.
Yeah.
Right? Every year, at the end of the year, you capture what that year was. Who were the best people? What were the best films? What was the best performances? And I think it's so important that people participate, but it's harder and harder.
Every time.
It's getting worse. It's much worse. Pre-pandemic, we did one roundtable in 2019, which had the most incredible everybody. We had Alia, Deepika, Ranveer, Ayushmann, Parvati, Vijay Sethupathi, Vijay Deverakonda, Bajpayee. You could not do that today. You cannot put those people, those artists, you cannot bring them together again.
Right.
I think it's just schedules are too difficult. They're not interested anymore in that sort of conversation.
I just wondered why they are not interested.
I don't know. Believe me, I've asked and pushed, and because I really think you do it for the movies.
Yeah.
You don't do it for yourself. Exactly. I think it's important to do it as just for the what do you call it? Just like archiving it.
Yes.
For the next 5 years, people will go back and look at 29.
A document for the future.
It's a document for the years. And what people thought and what society's attitudes were and which were the films that ran. So I think it's very important to do, which is why I keep doing it even though I have no hair left.
I know you are a fan of Malayalam cinema and you love Malayalam cinema. So I am not asking whether you are a fan of it or not.
Yeah.
My question is, how much do you try to cover Malayalam cinema? How often do you watch Malayalam cinema?
Truthfully, as much as I can. The last Malayalam film I saw was Dominic and the Ladies' Purse, which I think was like 10 days ago, maybe. I don't know. I love the storytelling. I love the characters. I love the way it's so unexpected.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're going to get when you go into a Malayalam film. So I watch as much as I can. And of course, for many years, through the pandemic, it was only on OTT, but now I go to theaters. Okay. Yeah, I go when a film releases that I really want to see, I make sure I'm in the theater, or I catch up OTT. I love. I saw. I used to ask this question when I first started interviewing Malayali artists. I would be like, "But what are you smoking?" I asked Ashik Abu. I asked like some 5 other people that how are you guys creating such powerful storytelling?
Did you watch the Rifle Club?
I didn't see Rifle Club. I really admire Ashik, but that was because again December.
Andrea Kashyap, so
I was in it. But December, we are all going crazy with our tables.
Talking about Malayalam industry, comparing to what people saying generally about Bollywood, about the decline of value in it, or Bollywood being used as a tool of political propaganda, do you think Bollywood has anything to copy from, not saying copy, take an example from how Bollywood works?
I think the emphasis on the writing.
Yeah.
For me, that is the foundation. So I think Hindi cinema, not just from how Malayalam cinema works, but from any cinema where they're telling great stories, all of us should learn from that, where you're it's not about the star,
Yeah.
It's not about the glamour. First, it's about the story. On top of that, add the star, add the glamour. That's great. It's wonderful.
Icing on the top.
It's the icing. It can't be the cake.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Hindi cinema. It's become too often the stars become the foundation. And you can't. And they're lovely and they're beautiful and they're great to watch, but they need a story. I'm a great optimist, as I said before. I think Hindi cinema will also turn around and create wonderful movies. I mean, I thought Amar Singh Chamkila is just fantastic.
Yes.
Imtiaz Ali, who had 2 flops before that,
Yes.
turned around and made a film like that. So I think it's a cycle. You go through phases. I hope that the good phase comes soon.
Is there any all-time favorite Bollywood movie of Anupama Chopra?
For me, Sholay.
Sholay.
Yeah.
Any Malayalam? Ever-time favorite Malayalam movie?
Kumbhalati.
Ah.
Because that was the first.
Yeah.
I'd seen before that. I'd seen
You're the worst Malayalam cinema.
and I'd seen, Vidyan, but like ages ago, Adol Sir's work, Shaji's work, of course. But I think for contemporary Malayalam cinema, for many of us, it was Kumbhalati.
Any actor, male or female, that Anupama Chopra wishes to interview? Anyone you admire? And
So many. I think I would love to interview, of course, Daniel Day-Lewis, who is doing one more film, so who knows? I'm still. But coming closer to home, I would love to interview Mammootty sir. Love to interview Mammootty sir.
Did you?
I tried. Believe me, I tried. I keep asking one person, then the next person, then the next person. They're like, no. So I'm putting it out there, Mammootty sir. I'm waiting for an interview.
Okay.
Mohanlal sir I've talked to. I have interviewed him for Drishyam, the second film. But Mammootty sir never, so I would love to interview him.
It's been over 30 years since your career started.
Yeah.
How far the field of film criticism has gone over these years, do you think?
Changed a lot, especially now because of social media and because digital is interactive. When we first worked with magazines or television, it was a one-way thing. We said what we said and we had no idea whether anyone liked it, didn't like it, cared, didn't care. But with digital, that's the beauty of it, that you really get first-hand feedback.
Yeah.
And sure, some of that feedback, not some, a lot of that feedback is also trolling. It's okay. It's part of the game.
Yeah.
So it's evolved a lot. And I think it's made us all, at least for me, I'm speaking for myself here, be more informed, to try and research more, to try and study more, to try and, if I'm watching Love Yapa, then I make sure I watch Love Today, so that I come to it with knowledge and context. So I think it's made us better critics. I hope.
Of course. Did you ever feel the pressure of viewership?
Of course. When you're a digital journalist, when you're on YouTube, when you run a website, it is about the number.
Metrics.
It is about the metrics, So yes, we are. I cannot say I live in some ivory tower and I don't know what the numbers are. I do know what the numbers are, but I don't create. See, firstly, I'm not a content creator.
Yeah.
I'm a film critic. I'm a journalist. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
So my life is not about getting more people on Instagram. My life is about, if I've seen a great film, convincing you to see it.
Yeah.
So I think my KRA is very different. My deliverables are different. My North Star is different. But am I mindful of the numbers? Yes, I am. Will I do content because I know it will get numbers? No.
Yeah.
No. I'm not going to do something clickbaity because I want the clicks. I want you to click because you think what I have to say has value. Yeah. Not because I've got some sensational quote. There's a difference.
This is Ka Literature Festival. But here we celebrate art, literature. It's a convergence of many things.
Yeah.
So how do you think literature festivals like Ka should happen nowadays?
I think it's amazing. Genuinely. I just think, last week I was at the Jaipur Literature Festival. This week I'm here. It's such a wonderful thing to see people so excited around books and around reading. Because I've written several books. I'm not such a great reader anymore, but I was a student of literature. That's my bachelor's degree was in literature. So I think to build this and to enable this exchange of ideas where, film and art and literature and politics are all crossing.
Debates.
Is a wonderful thing. And debates are so necessary for more understanding, for more compassion, for more saying, okay, we don't agree, but it's all right. We don't have to
Opinion makes things stronger, right?
Yeah. Especially in today's world where everybody's so angry and you say something and they'll attack you and they'll say you are so old and you are this and you are that. It's nice to just have civilized conversations.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Take care.